What's up, folks? My name is LB the Realist with Surrealistic Studios, Surreal News, where the real is surreal. Thank you for joining me on another video. Hit that like button, hit that comment, hit that share, and hit that subscribe when I'm done. Love, peace, and light, folks. Again, thank you for joining me on this segment. So, the eviction moratorium has been extended, I believe, up until October. I believe it's October, something like that, October 1st. So we'll go ahead and get into that right there. After, Corey Bush and other members of the squad showed up to the Capitol, and they basically stayed there. Some stayed longer than others, but they basically protested and put pressure on the Biden administration and the CDC to do something. Multiple people put pressure on the Biden administration. Some people think that this is, a little too late still. This is not enough. This is just kicking the can down the road. And of course, absolutely it is. But it's still good that something was done to keep people from being on the streets. There may be some people that are already on the streets now. So we absolutely need to use everything that we have in our power and our toolkit to get things done for the American people. So one of the things that I said in one of my previous videos is that Trump would have did it. If we still had Trump would have did it. Not that I'm a Trump fan or anything, just basically egging the Biden administration on, and people that like Biden saying that Trump would have got it done no matter what the consequences are. And now this article right here from The Hill that I want to read is saying that people are questioning that and saying that he basically went against the Constitution in doing that. So let me go ahead and read this here. This is from The Hill, like I said before. Canceling the Constitution. Biden hailed for violating the rule of law to extend eviction moratorium. And my whole argument, let me just get this out the way now. You're gonna go against the Constitution anyways. You're gonna go against the rule of law anyways. You're not gonna get Congress's approval anyways. When it comes to nonstop war, when it comes to intervention, when it comes to promoting or pushing or terrorizing people with capitalism or democracy, as we like to put it. We never get Congress's approval, or we never stick to the Constitution or the actual rule of law. No, they're always breaking that. So it's about time that they actually do something for the American people. And if that involves breaking the law or the Constitution or whatever, so be it. It is what it is. At least this time is for the right reason. So often it gets broken for the wrong reason. Now, this is for the right reason. Now, should it be broken? No, of course not. But of course, people shouldn't be able to be kicked out their homes either because of a global pandemic that occurred and they weren't able to pay their rent. Like, rent should have been canceled. Come on now, folks. Let's be real here. But it's the United Corporations of America. My bad. The United Corporations of America. You got to do the money sign like that. So let's go ahead and read this article here. During the 2020 presidential campaign, then-candidate Joe Biden told voters that the choice between him and Donald Trump was between the lawful and the lawless. He called for voters to support the rule of law under the Constitution, a choice repeated mantra-like by the media to end Trump's assault on the rule of law. Now, 6 months into his presidency, Biden is openly flouting the Constitution with a knowingly invalid extension of the eviction moratorium, and some law professors and advocates on the left are cheering him for it. A few weeks ago, the Supreme Court ruled on the authority of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC, to impose a nationwide moratorium on the eviction of renters during the pandemic. Some of us criticized the CDC's order as unconstitutional. The reason is the breathtaking authority claimed by the CDC under the federal law that gives it the power to make and enforce such regulations as in its judgment are necessary to prevent the introduction, transmission, or spread of communicable diseases. I have long been a critic of such unchecked and undefined authority in pandemics. This, however, is a particularly chilling example. It would give the CDC authority over huge swaths of our economy to avoid even the possibility of the introduction or spread of a disease. It means that a constitution designed to prevent tyranny and authoritarianism becomes largely irrelevant if you put on a white lab coat. After all, the law was designed to control disease, not democracy, as a public health priority. In its 5-4 decision, in Alabama Association of Realtors versus Department of Health and Human Services, the Supreme Court kept the CDC moratorium in place, but left no question that a majority of justices ultimately viewed the CDC order as unconstitutional. On the minority side of the vote, Justices Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, Neil Gorsuch, and Amy Coney Barrett wanted to suspend the eviction moratorium as unconstitutional. Yet the CDC's original order was about to expire anyway, so, in a somewhat baffling concurrence, Justice Brett Kavanaugh supplied the fifth vote in favor of the CDC to allow the law to simply expire and thereby enable an additional and more orderly distribution of their congressionally appropriated rental assistance. Thus, Kavanaugh voted with the majority in the case, but also indicated that he agreed with his conservative colleagues on the larger point that the CDC never had the authority to issue the nationwide eviction moratorium in the first place without a congressional act. Biden acknowledged the obvious, that any new order to extend the moratorium would be unconstitutional. Indeed, he admitted that legal experts overwhelmingly told him so. The bulk of the constitutional scholarship says it's not likely to pass constitutional muster, yet he added he was able to find several key scholars who think that it may and is worth the effort. The fact that most scholars relied upon by the Biden White House said the move would be unconstitutional is itself remarkable. Given the makeup of most law faculties, Democrats in Congress usually can expect hundreds of supportive academics to sign letters and attest to their legal positions. The question then arose as to who would offer Biden constitutional cover when virtually every other liberal professor declined to do so, and the several key scholars were guessed by some of us to be a single figure. Harvard law professor Lawrence Tribe. Oh, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. The several key scholars were guessed by some of us to be a single figure. Harvard law professor Lawrence Tribe. After his own White House counsel agreed that the move would be unconstitutional, Biden repeatedly told his chief of staff Ron Klain to call Tribe, who has been consistently there for Democrats, from supporting court packing to declaring Trump a terrorist to attacking Republicans and those with conflicting views. Tribe and I have long agreed on constitutional questions, but the partisanship was often laced with some plausibility. The advice in this instance is incredible for its sheer mendacity. The advice in this instance is incredible for its sheer mendacity. The court clearly stated that the CDC lacked this authority, but Tribe reportedly assured Biden that this technically would be a new order, even though it is based on the same unconstitutional claim. So this is technically a new order. So they're just using, colorful language. It is like being given a parole for stealing a BMW and then immediately stealing a Lexus because it's a different car. The problem was the act, not the make of the car. What is particularly alarming was Biden's reason for why it may be worth the effort they write these articles are so weird. What is particularly alarming is Biden's reason for why it may be worth the effort that, at a minimum, by the time it gets litigated, it will probably give some additional time while we're getting that $45 billion out to people. Yeah, the $45 billion out was supposed to be already given months ago. But somehow we have problems getting money out to people. We never have problems getting money out to the people that don't need it. In other words, with appeals, the Biden administration could rush out money before the courts could shut it down. Biden was held for this unconstitutional commitment to social justice. One liberal commentator declared that with one small action, Biden reveals himself as a better leader than Trump. That small action was violating the Constitution, the document he swore to uphold, so help me God, at his inaugural. Nevertheless, getting the rule of law is somehow now seen as a sign of leadership in action. Biden is not a first-time offender. When he was vice president, the Obama administration greenlighted the expenditure of billions under Obamacare, despite lacking congressional approval. I represented the House of Representatives as a lead counsel in successfully challenging that clearly unconstitutional act, but the administration was never required to get the money back. With the cover offered by Tribe in this instance, Biden apparently hopes to repeat the same tactic to bar evictions while evading the Constitution. When confronted on his unconstitutional strategy, Biden repeatedly reminded reporters that a pandemic is raging. Yet just months ago, Biden declared his election would amount to the triumph of the rule of law and would show that the flame of democracy cannot be extinguished, not even with a pandemic or an abuse of power. So Biden is now blowing out that flame while attempting to excite political demands for extra constitutional action. It will come at a great cost for the country and his own legacy. The oath that he took on January 20th did not include an exception for political convenience. Indeed, it is often inconvenient to uphold the Constitution, but the alternative is a type of self-eviction on the basis of one's oath to office. So then, again, that was from thehill.com. I'll leave that below so you guys can check it out if you want to. I know I kind of stumbled through that article, but the basic gist of this whole article is them getting at Biden, basically saying, hey, you kind of broke the Constitution. You kind of went against the Constitution there by extending. You shouldn't have legally been able to do this without congressional approval. Hey, what's going on, Biden? You said you're all about the rule of law. This is how you were supposedly different from Trump, but yet here you go. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least he did it for the right reason. At least he did it for the right reason. Maybe you disagree with that. And if you disagree with that, please let me know down below in the comment section. If you think this is just kicking the can down the road and you think there should have been a more robust and complete action done in place of this, please leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. Do you think that Biden should have basically went against the Constitution in regards to this? Or do you think that basically this is overall a good thing for the people, even though he did what he did? Leave me your thoughts down below. Like this video, share, and subscribe, folks. Until next time, remember, do something kind, rewind, love, peace, and light. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. Hopefully, you guys are doing all right. Like I said before, I was able to get rental assistance. So that was taken care of. EDD came through, so that was taken care of. After months and months of waiting and being pending, things finally are looking up for me. But for a lot of other people out there, it's not looking so great. So we always have to be cognizant of that and be conscious of that, fact. So until next time, folks, I'll catch you guys on the next video. And I'm out.